All right, folks, it's 6:30 on the clock. That is up to date now. Nice to see. So we'll make a start. We've got 15 applications to go through, so we'll try and get through them as best we can. Before we start the meeting officially, can I welcome Fahim?
Yeah.
I don't know whether everybody's met Fahim before, our new committee and research officer. So welcome to the team, Fahim. I hope you enjoy your time here.
You look after you, don't worry.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the Community Funding Subcommittee. And we'll go straight into apologies for absence. And we've had Jeff Reid. He's the only one, because other than that, everybody else is here. Disclosure of interests and grants of dispensations.
Me.
I think we might have a few there. Yeah. Aileen, John, and Adrian. Yeah. Obviously, you'll be allowed to stay in the first part of the meeting, but when we come into part two, that's when we'll ask you to leave. Okay. The minutes of the previous committee funding subcommittee on 6th of February were agreed at the annual council, and there were no actions arising from those previous minutes. So we'll go straight into to considering the new applications. Before we do that, can I remind you that we're at the start of the grant giving year, if you like. We've got 157,300 that we would normally give out over 4 meetings over the year. A reminder about the policy that we have for community funding. The latest policy suggested a maximum grant payable to groups and organisations carrying out specific projects is set at 5,000. We do have an exemption to that at the back of the policy, where we could give special consideration to an application at the discretion of this committee. The other thing I would remind you about within the policy is that we do ask for a number of items of support and documentation. And that could be things like minutes from meetings, obviously annual accounts, things like that. Safeguarding policies, if the grant, is given to somebody who could be dealing with young people, or even safeguarding for adults, for that matter. I'll tell you now, there are a number of applications that haven't given those in. So it's going to be up to us to decide whether we take them forward or not. Okay. Register of interest, we've covered that. So we'll go straight into the first one, which is the easy one, I think. Royal British Legion. They've asked for £400 for support for the cost of the marching band to lead the parade to the cenotaph for our remembrance service at Ellington Colliery. They did it last year as well. And obviously, that now, with our support, have managed all of the remembrance services. Last year, was it the year before as well?
They just started last year, didn't
Just
we?
last year.
The
Yeah.
year before was just the in June.
So a small amount of £400 they've been asking for. Any comments on that application, anybody?
Chair, just for the marching band is so much better the parade, so
Yeah.
I support the application.
And I second that, because I think we never had a British Legion for years, and it's great to see that it's grown. So,
Yeah.
I would, so I second what John said.
Okay, thank you. Second application was from Blythe Resource and Initiative Centre, Rick. They're asking for £7,500 as a contribution to the costs of an employability tutor who would manage the drop-in sessions to support job searches, applications and online assessments. £7,500 towards a total project cost of about £12,500. A bit of background on that. They've assisted almost 40 people into some form of employment in the last year. They do a lot of help with anything to do with benefit applications or universal credit. We have supported them in the past.
Yeah.
In the past 2 years, actually, we support them with 2 grants of £5,000 towards running costs of maths and English provision.
Yeah.
And during that time, 26 people achieved qualifications and 7 secured employment. And they've put in all the support and applications to that one.
So the comments I would make,
Papers, rather.
the comments I would make on that one, they're doing a fantastic job because, as I keep saying, you've got a lot of young people are non-academic. And you must have your maths and English to apply for a job.
Mhm.
So it's a really good setup to get them moving on.
Yes, John?
Yeah, Chair, I mean, they did break down the costs as well. I think that part of
Yeah.
it was rent and part of the tutor, so
Yeah.
even we didn't give them the full amount, they could use it for rent or part of tutors' fees and things, so.
Any other comments, anybody? Thank you. Number 3 is Blythe Tall Ship, which we all know is a local charity. They're asking for £20,000 towards a cost of £25,000 for a project. It's a contribution to the cost of a shipwright carpenter to run sessions and oversee the health and safety of volunteers. A little bit of background about this. As I said, they're a charity that try to inspire life-changing decisions, community pride, and improved well-being, improved employability with hard-to-reach communities in the deprivation areas around Blythe and South East Northumberland. And they deliver 4 core programs. So they do like a skills and soft employability, skills learning and boatyard, leading to modern engineering skills and employment. 80% of those who complete level 1 and 2 NVQs get work. That's quite a good record. They do the Learn the Ropes courses across a range of maritime skills, run over 10 to 12 weeks. And then they try and maintain that through regular volunteering opportunities. We know about the Sea Shanty Choir, the Guernsey Knitters, the sailing crews and workshop engineers. They run heritage sailing expeditions, and they try to raise the profile of Blythe for its population through open days, temporary museums, archive and schools projects, etc. They have 350 volunteers and 6 employees. One thing I picked out of their application was they mentioned that we've only asked BTC for support when we've really needed it, rather than being serial applicants.
Yeah.
They have had funding from National Lottery Heritage Fund in the past that's paid towards core staff. That comes to an end in the summer. And despite some income from the ship, and they think their courses will cease if they're unable to retain core woodworking staff. All of the support and paperwork was provided on that one. Any comments?
Yeah, Chair, I mean, obviously maintaining the ship, keeping it seaworthy is really expensive. And I noticed in the application, I've got some other ideas as well, how to raise other money, having boats and other cruises and things, so carpenter's quite crucial. I'm sure we can contribute something towards it, if not full amount.
Okay, Carl?
I agree with John there, but the other thing I wanted to say, they're doing a lot of carpentry now. So they're teaching people life skills of carpentry where there's a lack of that lately, a lack of carpenters. So I think it's another good idea, plus teaching women as well.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I think they've got a heck of a lot of unrestricted funds. 244,667.
Unrestricted funds. As you said, John, that is, it's a high cost to maintain a ship and everything, and make sure everything ticks over, and if they've got funding that's ending, then understand that, but that is quite a high amount.
Of unrestricted funds. 244,667.
And the operating cost is 350. everything.
Mm.
I'm mentioning the operating costs.
Yeah, but this is unrestricted. I don't know how much restricted.
Could Mark come in on that one?
I was just gonna say that from 1 year, from 2022 into then 2023 and 2024, they had a shortfall of 23,000, so you know what Clive said in his application about, you know, that the income streams are reducing, they are starting to bite into the reserves, so, you know.
Yeah,
that's
well, I
still
mean,
up.
yeah, it's an interesting one. It always comes up about, reserves and that, doesn't it? On lots of applications. What we say in our policy, just to remind you, is where an organisation has unrestricted funds in excess of 50% of their operating costs, then detailed information must be provided for any approved projects that have been agreed for implementation in the next 2 years. So the aim of our council is to provide funds to those organisations whose balances are not sufficient enough to support a particular project. That's what we say in our policy.
But Chair, isn't that what we're saying though, the operating costs are more than what they've actually got,
Yes,
Yeah,
so they won't have enough money left at the end of the season.
that's right.
effectively, yeah.
Chair,
Caitlin?
you just look at, that is correct, that obviously the operating costs are higher than the unrestricted funds, but you just said about 50%. Having it as 50%, so 50% would be 175,000. Whereas they've got 244. But like I say, they haven't really come to us before, and they only come to us when they need it, and it's for a specific
Yeah.
project and wanting it to go for it, and it's like Kath said, it's life skills, so if we want to discuss later.
Okay. Anybody else? Adrian?
I think we should put them through, got to give them some sort of funding, because they've been struggling to get
We're
funding
not
in the last
discussing
6
that, yeah.
months.
We're not discussing finances yet, so much there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, we'll put
Yeah.
them through.
yeah, okay. Anything else? Anybody wants to comment on? Thank you. Right, next one is Blythe Rugby Football Club. So we did fund these last year towards some improvements to training pitches. They're now asking for some money, £5,000 towards a £10,000 project. It's to install floodlighting on the southwest of the site, which they know as pitch 3. And what they've said is, by undertaking these works and subject to a successful planning permission, all 3 of the main training areas will then be covered with modern LED lighting, the purpose of which is to relieve the pressure on the main pitch, which is deteriorating because they're having to use it for training. They haven't supplied any supporting information. In particular, there's no safeguarding policy. Any comments, anybody? Carry on.
Just a bit of concern around it regarding the floodlights, because if they cause a low set for the residents and whether ones who are funding it, it's my only concern, but I'm always happy to support the rugby club though.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Is your concern about residents and
Yeah,
floodlights?
just-
Yeah,
If obviously the same subject were a successful planning application, but my concern is that the response they'll get from residents towards floodlights.
Yeah.
And when we be the ones who are funding it, and if it gets rejected, they get it back.
okay, John.
Yeah, I just think with a rugby pitch, you know, if you're playing all your matches on it and do your training on it, especially during the winter season, the pitch is going to get churned up very, very quickly. So you really do need to have somewhere else to do your training. If you haven't got the floodlights, you can't do much during the winter really. So it's an awkward one, but yeah.
Welcome.
I mean, it could be a decision dependent on the floodlight,
Yeah,
planning
on
approval.
planning permission, yeah. I was gonna say, we wouldn't normally give the money out before planning permission, would it? Yeah. So it would have to be dependent on planning permission being approved, even if we wanted to go ahead with it. Yeah. Okay. Next one is Briardale House. They're asking for 5,000 towards a project cost of 5,900. It's funding to employ a member of staff to facilitate older people's activities. And again, just a bit of background, they currently run a successful weekly friendship club with a funded role, taking the lead on the project, and demand for that has increased dramatically. They now have a waiting list for it. They need to employ a second member of staff, basically. And they could initially accommodate with that second member up to a further 24 older people every month. The sessions do include a pick-up and drop-off with the Briardale minibus. And all of the necessary documentation was attached. So any comments from anybody?
They
Yeah,
also have a variety of activities for the older people to have a go at for mental health. And they are increasing, the numbers are increasing, and also get a meal while they're there. So at least that day they'll have a hot meal, a 2-course meal.
Okay.
See, I'm always in support of things like this because it's a job well worthwhile doing, because the older people, if they tend to not go out on a night time. So their night time is an afternoon to go places. So I think, you know, and I think it's been running really well. But I can understand, I've seen quite a few of the pictures of what they're doing and that. And like I say, they're about the only group that really picks up and drops off as well.
Mm.
So they do a valuable job.
Adrian?
And I've been there a few times in the dinner time in Boxingwell, and they give free soup and everything. Or they did give free soup for quite a few months. But I think that's just come off now, but they're always trying to help people who's, you know, in difficulty.
Yeah. Got a very successful stroke support group that I've been to
Yeah.
a few times as well,
Yeah.
which is excellent. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
On that one. Isabella Community Association. They're asking for 4,875, which is the total project cost, to offer local people a free hot dinner once per week. That'll be 25 dinners per week for 26 weeks. And it's a salary contribution to the cook's wages, kitchen running costs, food supplies and disposables. All the paperwork's been included on that application.
Chair, once again, they do a really good, job in what they do. But I think, you know, half of these elderly people, shall we say, doesn't get the benefits what young ones get. And I think it's more important because they can't either eat. So it's part of that comes into it as well.
Yeah. That's John Wiley here, John. Isn't part of Age UK's brief, is it? No?
No, it's just separate.
Separate.
We have had funding from elsewhere last year when we gave reduced price meals. But as soon as we put the price back up again, people stop coming.
Okay, Daniel?
Who are the beneficiaries of it, Chair?
Say again?
Who are the beneficiaries of it?
Just local residents.
Is it like,
Local people?
yeah, is it people who are like down in hard luck and stuff, is it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is quite a deprived area anyway, so it's,
Obviously,
they're not referrals as such. So.
yeah, I was gonna say, so I could go, could I?
I thought it was.
I mean, what they say, Daniel, is our local community faces many social issues, including low incomes and poor health.
I was just curious. I mean, it's great. I just wondered how you sifted through the people who were. I mean, if activists turn up, obviously I'm going to say I don't. But I mean, is there like a process where they sift through people to say, well, you definitely need more than this sort of person?
No, not
Nothing about process of how we decide who gets it, no.
Okay.
All right, anybody else?
No.
Any other comments? Okay, Cooper Key Community Association, the Buffalo Centre. And they're asking for £5,000, which is down as a total project cost for replacement windows on the lower floor to provide increased energy efficiency, reduce noise, and improve security. They have provided some quotations, and I'm slightly confused because they've said that the total project cost is covered here, but the quotations are 10,000, 11,000, and 15,000. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's just a
It's
hit
a
on
typo.
the table.
could be a typo. Right.
Chair, I have been asked to try and support them and I'm waiting for figures coming back from county. Because they need to go into it a bit more about what replacing windows or so I've just had to give them a bit more information, so I have been approached for funding as well.
From your personal allocation,
From the schemes money.
from the schemes money.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Just say something about it.
Yeah,
About 15 years ago, I think, when we got these windows in, and Brenda was the manager then, and she was told when she got them in not to get these ones with the bars across, because the wooden ones was okay, they were strong enough, but these ones with the bars, some of the windows you can't open now because they've dropped, and you can't get windows open, so they're having to get if they're open windows, you've got to get the engineer come up and open the window, shut the window again and seal it up. And that's what they're for, because they're all going to collapse eventually.
okay. What I will say about this one is that there's some information missing from a company, information missing, including safeguarding policy. Anybody else? All right, next one is Silks, People and Drugs Limited, Silks. They're asking for £5,000 core costs associated with evening provision in the teen bar. And the overall cost of that teen bar provision is 94,000. They've already secured 38,000 from UK Youth and 10,000 from the Ballinger Trust. So they have a shortfall of 46,000. Past 12 months, the attendance at this session's been, they've had 4,491 attendances by 441 individual young people. And the type of things they do on the evening session is free use of all recreation, educational activities, free food and refreshments, one-to-one youth worker support, access to trips and activities, and participation in health and wellbeing initiatives.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
that they're seriously thinking this year because if they don't get that funding, next year they might have to pause.
Really?
And if they're talking about it now, it's a big concern to me because this once again, youth provision's being cut from the county.
Yeah.
So we need to look at young people and how we support them.
Yeah.
Chair, this is a very well attended
Yeah.
and respected by the young
Yeah,
people themselves. The staff are respected by the young people. The working relationship we've built over the years is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's very important we try and keep Silks going for the sake of the young people's lives.
Right.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Thank you. Number 9 is well, it's Escape.
Mhm.
If he's looking for it, the big head to fold in.
Oh,
The big boat.
Is that the front door thing? Wow.
That's what I was just wondering.
No, it's just one of them. It's one of them.
Yeah, that one.
I hope you all had a chance to read through this.
I looked at that. You're sorry I haven't gone right through it.
Right, escape. Had applications from these in the past. They're asking for 5,000 towards a project cost of 7,509. It's basically to support the service in Blythe and the cost of 2 sessional workers who will support a family support worker. If you've forgotten or you're not sure, Escape is Northumberland's community-led response to drug and alcohol use, and it was founded in Blythe
Mhm.
in 1995 by Janet Murphy, MBE. And there's a huge amount of supporting information, as you can see. But I've just tried to narrow it down there as best I can.
I think what they're trying to do is support the work that they do in Blythe.
Yeah.
Because they know the base themselves in the Buffalo Centre. So I think it is a valuable job. And they'll get my support every time. For what
Okay.
they do.
I would second that with Escape. They do have a lot of families, and not
Yeah.
just the people who are suffering from substance misuse, but they're supporting families as well.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, there's quite a bit in Blythe.
Okay.
Just a comment about the amount of material sent in, really, that we should really be asking for the application form. Maybe it's a bit more information, you know, things like financial spreadsheets and that, but there's just too much to go through. You know, I suspect that would put some organisations off.
Well, to be sorry, Chair, but to be perfectly honest with you, John, I think they're being thorough. They're just being thorough in what they're doing. And it's just all the proofs in the pudding there.
No, well, I would disagree. I think it just includes everything they've got.
Yes, they've certainly been very thorough. Okay, any other comments on Escape? No. Right. Number 10 is Northumberland Pride Limited. TK Pride Action Law. Right, they're asking for £1,250 towards a cost of £3,000. And I think they've got the rest of that. They've been awarded a Heart of Blythe micro grant of £1,750. So it's a contribution to organise and delivering a family pride event in partnership with South East Central Family Hub, which is the old Sugar Star on Wright Street. The age range that they would cater for is 0 to 70, but they will focus around young people. And with guidance, they would lead the planning for this event via the newly formed LGBTQIA+ youth group, brackets free to be. So they reckon this event would engage with 250 people. And it's all about representing those who are underrepresented in the local community. And they say there are little or no pride events in Blythe, whereas there are across Newcastle, Sunderland, Northumberland. So to give local people a chance to join in. Elliot?
Small amounts, I don't see why we couldn't support them. And they are right, we don't have very much, but if anything like that in Blythe compared to what they have in Newcastle. So I think give them a chance, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? They haven't supplied any support and information. Right. Citizens Advice Northumberland. They're asking for 6,856 towards a project cost of 13,712. And it's a contribution towards the provision of services within Blythe to be used to support the management and supervision staffing costs for their Blythe office. The report that they attach, well, they say they attached a report, but I couldn't find one actually. Anyway, they're saying they helped 1,946 clients. Sorry, Ray.
Chair, if I may, there was a supporting pack attached to that application. I don't believe it's been printed off and put in the pile.
Oh, so there was.
But that there
Right,
is,
that's
yes.
fine. I think that the key details are in here anyway. They've helped 1,946 clients in Blythe, of which 56% classified themselves as disabled or having long-term health conditions. And they've helped with 13,855 actual issues, mainly around welfare benefits, particularly universal credit, debt, employment, consumer goods, utilities. As a result of this help, the clients have seen an income gain of £1,207,658 and £226,000 worth of debts written off. They offer face-to-face drop-in and appointment service, and they operate Tuesdays and Fridays 10 till 12 at Sexton House. So that's Citizens Advice Northumberland.
Citizens Advice Northumberland is also supported through Northumberland County Council, because it used to be Wansbeck CVA that used to get the money for doing things in Northumberland. But last year they won the award to set up for Northumberland, for the Port of Northumberland Citizens Advice Bureau.
Daniel?
We just need to look at their unrestricted funds, don't we? 791,000. But then, yeah, counting that as well.
Yeah.
Not saying to do a bad job at all, but I mean, have we given to them before, Chair?
Have we what?
Have we given to them before?
Yes.
Right, yeah, let me just check.
We have, we did it
Yeah,
before they.
We gave them 5,000 in previous years.
Not last year.
I mean, I think we always probably make the same comments about every organisation every year, but again, it's just pointing out the fact that that unrestricted reserve is shy of a million.
So operating costs are 2.5 million. So I think when you look at it like that, it's all up there in the figures that they are playing with a lot. And I don't know what else I mean by that, to be honest.
I think, Chair, the feeling is that we as a community town council much prefer to give it to the more local organisations who need it more than the ones who have got just shy of £1 million. I think is my feeling towards it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, those figures are quite staggering when you look at it, you know. We would never receive an application with figures like that from anybody else,
Yeah.
I'm guessing. You know, annual income, 2,781,000. But operating costs, as you say, Caitlin, 2.5 million. It's a tricky one, but you've got to bear in mind what they do for people in Blythe, I guess. Malcolm?
Yeah, I was going to say on the Charities Commission, it's commonly recommended as 50% of your operating costs as unrestricted funds. So if they are getting into trouble and they can't get any more funding, it ensures that they can, you know, carry out their business for 6 months until, you know, sort people out, refer them to other agencies. So when you look at their operating costs, if they weren't going to receive any more funding, they could probably just operate for about 4 months, which would be below the guidelines within the Charity Commission.
Yeah.
Can I come back in? Or?
Mhm.
They're all getting supported financially through Northumberland County Council, because it used to be the CVA Wansbeck that used to get the money, but they lost the bid last year because CVABB put in for it. They didn't get it, but Citizens Advice got it to support people in Northumberland. So I'm a bit, I don't know, I'm a bit mixed up with it, because they're supposed to be they're there supporting the whole of Northumberland and in different ways, so I can't understand why they're asking for money for Blythe.
Kayla?
I'm a bit like Kath here, I am, as my head's torn, because have they said about requesting funding from other town councils if they do represent Northumberland? I would understand if they'd gone to Camdenton and Hexham and Morpeth and Berwick and their councils, whichever ones do provide grants for help within their communities. If it's only, if they've only come to us to ask for help within Blythe, that doesn't seem fair.
No,
Obviously, everyone who they're supporting, it's completely needed, and the figures you gave at the beginning shows how useful they are and how needed they are. I completely support them, I'm sure we all do, but it is that we're playing with a lot of figures here, and it is for Northumberland, and I would hate to think that they're only asking us for money, and the rest of the money that they're being supported by from the county council is going elsewhere.
Could I just ask something? Could we not write to them and regarding the fact that they're supported by Northumberland County Council financially? So to see what the breakdown is, why they need the money for Blythe when they're supposed to be covering all Northumberland.
yeah. So I mean, in
Something
section
like
12,
that. Yeah.
where they ask, we ask, have you applied via any other avenues of funding for this project? The answer is no. They do say the contribution sought will be match funded from the charity's own resources. So what they're asking for is 50% contribution towards what they need. But there's no indication of
But this is why.
for any other avenues of funding.
But this is why I'm saying, because, so what's, they're asking for a contribution for Blythe, but yet they're supposed to be covering the whole of Northumberland financially, so why are they asking for extra monies from Blythe when they get finance from county every year, because that's what they've been put in for, because it's Abby Conway who's, she does the BCS with Emma and that. And I can't, I don't know, I think I would like a bit
It's
more
like, to
information.
me, it seems as though it's more, all the other parts of Northumberland ask for project funding. The county are giving it, and because Blythe have asked for project funding, they come to us for it. As though Northumberland's not giving them it, and I just don't understand why.
Right, Daniel, then John.
If any organisation comes to us, and probably they all hate begging, but if any organisation, even if Citizens Advice came to us for some reason and they were down on the luck and I saw their financial reserves had dropped and they were begging for us for this money, I would say, yes, give them it.
No doubt.
But even if they're operating on 50% of that, they're still on a hell of a lot of money, in my opinion. And because the county fed as well, and because they operate across the whole of Northumberland, I still think this is going to be one where a vote might be a bit.
I think we just need that
Yes,
bit more
right.
information.
Okay, John.
Yeah, I can't remember, on the £2.5 million operating costs, was that mainly wages? And what the figure was, just for salaries, but it just seemed like an awful lot of money. Billions they have and things, but, I don't know.
Do they have a cross?
It isn't broken, well, staff costs are 1,960,000 staff costs. And they've got 95 full-time employees, 48 part-time employees, 72 volunteers.
Is that across all Northumberland?
Yeah, that's across the whole of Northumberland. So yeah, almost 2 million of it is staff costs.
It's a massive operation then, isn't it?
Right?
Could we ask other town councils for any funding towards them projects? So if the, for Basin Cramington, have they asked Cramington Town Council? Have they got Basin Amble, have they asked Amble?
Yeah.
Same.
So I think we're kind of moving towards deferring this one until we have some more supporting
Just need
information.
that information, because I think,
Yeah.
especially seeing it's down to staffing costs, as I said before, we need to know if other parishes are being asked for this, because I understand we're a large town and maybe they weren't necessarily expecting it, but we've got a lot of areas in Northumberland, and even if they are bigger or smaller, they should be treated equally. So, we need that information.
Okay, so we'll make that decision in part two. Morgan, do you want
Yeah, I was just gonna add that. Don't know if you're on it, the council at the time, Kieran, but we did a survey of neighbouring councils to see how much their maximum was and how much they paid in total. And some of your neighbouring councils will only give £500 as a maximum, you know, we are certainly the kindest in this area of funding.
But we're also the largest council or largest town.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, we did look at that last year, and when we looked at the grid, we did look at it as how much they gave in a percentage of how
That's right.
their population, whereas, so although our amount is much higher compared to our population, it was relatively, well, it was still higher than anywhere, but, we did then reduce it a little bit.
They would just need more information, a breakdown of it,
Okay, right, we'll move on to the next one then. Holding Hearts Therapeutic Services CIC. They're asking for 3,450 full cost of the project. And it's support to continue to provide their grief youth group for bereaved children and young people in Blythe. And this has run successfully for 2 years now, been funded by us in the past. And it's currently operating bi-weekly on Wednesday afternoons in Blythe. It's supported 32 grieving children, young people and families in the last 12 months.
Can I ask something quick, Chair? Where the base? Is it operating Blythe?
Community Enterprise Centre.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, just want to say fully support what they do, having had this hit my family, if something like this was around at that time, it would have made things a lot easier, so, absolutely support everything that they do.
Mm.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right, next one. Community and Voluntary Action Blythe Valley. And they're asking for £18,000. And it's a contribution towards core costs to enable the CVA to continue to provide services free of charge for the benefit of community groups delivering services in Blythe. Bit of background, they've helped Blythe groups secure over £300,000 in grant funding. They have established a new community hub in Blythe,
Yeah.
Marketplace. They are the base for Operation Elf, the annual Christmas appeal. They have said that they do recognise we have a cap on what we can award of £5,000, but if there was any discretion allowed, they would like this larger amount because of the benefit to award a broad range of groups. There are lots of endorsements and testimonials in the pack. I'll give you some of the examples, endorsements and that from the Isabella Community Centre, Friends of Crofton Field, Forget Me Not, Blythe Town Football Club, South Beach Karate Club, Blythe Juno Michi Judo Club, Lighthouse Project, Man Shed, and Isabella Heath Volunteer Group.
And a lot more. And a lot more.
Margaret?
Well, I think if we didn't support them, I think we'd have all them people coming to us saying, oh, I think and there'd be a lot more that we've had to give out. So I think it's a good idea to support them so they can take the bulk of the grant software, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, John?
Yeah, it just worries me a bit because the CBA Northumberland is the organisation that won the CBA contract for Northumberland, not
They
the
haven't.
Blythe
I
one.
haven't now.
Well, it might have changed now, but that's,
Was the
last year it
citizens
was, that's it.
The citizens
The other
of
thing is, well,
Blyth.
they've set up a hub in Blythe. I know we've used it, but I don't think that's really their remit. And I know they've taken on extra staff. Well, I suppose we can all do that, take on more premises, take on more staff and need more money. But their remit is to help organisations that are just setting up or already there. And I get a bit annoyed when they just add up all the money that all the other organisations have achieved and add it up and say they've done it. Quite often they haven't done that. It's, you know, it may have helped in a way, but I'm just a bit wary, that's all. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, I disagree because they have helped a lot of groups get set up. Their constitution, their bank accounts, they've helped them, supported them. If CBA in Northumberland, it doesn't exist anymore. It's a CAB that's getting the money from county, not CBA in Northumberland.
That's good.
Yeah, they changed last year because the CBA Blythe Valley put in for it last year and they didn't get it. One spec CBA, they put in for it for Northumberland, they didn't get it, but they've given it to the CAB. And this is where my concern lies with the CAB, not the CBA, because they do a fantastic job in supporting people and the different groups.
Okay, anybody else? Peter?
Just like what John says about the hub, they've got one in the Promenade now, I noticed. And I mean, that's gonna cost money as well, but when you think about it, 2 years ago, we give them £20,000 and the girls also got £20,000 for the project space. And I mean, it's a lot of money, £40,000 for the year for that one, them two things. But I mean, I don't know, I just feel as though it's a lot of money.
All I can say, like I said before, if we don't support them, everybody that's getting grants off them, and if they're not supported, they're going under and they're going to come here. We'll not have the money.
I disagree with that.
Can I just try for that? I mean, all they don't get grants from the CBA.
No, they
No,
have.
wait, sorry, it's funded, sorry, funded.
CBA.
Yeah,
They
funded.
help them get that.
To help
So,
with the
Yeah,
application.
applications that we can get.
Caitlin?
They do a lot of good in the community for the whole of Blythe and Blythe Valley, you know, we see them out and about, they're at events, they were at our, Peaside Festival,
Mhm.
they're very much in the community and
Yeah.
like Margaret says, they do, a lot of the people that would go to them would come to us for advice, like there's not necessarily an easy place to get that advice when you're starting up. I completely understand where you're coming from, John, as well. But no, what they do is great. Obviously, the amount we can discuss later, but as a whole, completely and utterly support.
All right, anybody else? No, right. Newsham, New Delable Youth Forum. Right, they're asking for £10,000 towards a project cost of 27,421. And it's a contribution towards the salaries of senior youth worker and 3 part-time workers. Now, this forum operates for 50 weeks of the year, provides 2 youth club sessions a week and detached work as well. The numbers have increased since the 1st of January to between 200 and 300 young people. So they took the decision to increase the number of youth workers. Haley?
Yeah, I think it's very important to support this group. Open news and a lot of news and people feel like left out from Blythe.
Yeah.
They're left to one side. And I've known the youth project start from the very beginning and the work they've done over the past few years and reaching the young people that was something very hard to reach. And they do have quite a bit of issues up there with fires and bikes and what have you, but I really would support this group and this application
Okay.
for the people of Newsham.
They last received funding from us in 2021 towards core costs. Anybody else? Adrian?
I think any youth club deserves help because we're struggling, they're all struggling at the minute for youth clubs.
Okay. Okay. And the last one. Vice Spartans Juniors Football Club, they're asking for 5,000 towards a project cost of 14,700 to install new specialist reinforced rebound fencing behind each goal around the perimeter of the pitch. They're 3 years on since they had the new 3G pitch installed, and the fencing is in dire need of repair. It offers a direct benefit to over 500 children. As they say in the application, the importance of artificial pitches has been demonstrated by the weather we've had this year, in particular, all the rainfall. So they offer opportunities for girls' football, after schools activities, community development activities, early years through the mini Spartans, skills school, local schools, summer camps, and specialised activities where they work with, for example, disability charities. This was a late application that came in, and there is no supporting information with it apart from a quotation. Yeah. Comments, anybody? Vice Spartans Juniors, Daniel?
It's exactly one of the applications I like to see, Chair. I'm happy to support it.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Me and you both know what it's like there. It's absolutely chock-a-block when you go along, it's full of kids. And I think it's very good thing.
Yeah. I did read there was some reason why they hadn't installed these specific rebound boards when they first put the pitch in. I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, it does explain why they couldn't do it initially. So now it's that damaged. They're going to have to do it now. Right. That's it. Thank you. And no delegated actions, no other business. Date and time of the next meeting is Tuesday, the 10th of September, 6:30. And we'll move straight into part 2. Unless you want to have a couple of minutes comfort break or have a drink of water or a cup of coffee, anybody?
It's waiting to be me.
You just want to go straight into it. Okay.
Don't cut me down the minute, sorry.
All right.
I feel like I'll be racing the Tesco van home.
Right. We'll move straight into it then. Bear in mind.